What's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Standard mode for the Nightmare Dungeon has finally been released, but it is not what a lot of people, myself included, were expecting. I know I was expecting standard mode to be a lot easier to complete, but after doing a run of it tonight, I unfortunately do not think that standard mode is easier than challenge mode. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Valerie, how can that be? Well, obviously, some things are a lot easier. Like, for example, right off the bat, there is no timer. You are able to use potions. You are able to mark your location and come back to it. You are able to open up your spell book and change your spells. Even the energy idols, for example, as you can see, I myself was able to open this area, which means that you do not need your friends to click them all at the same time on your timer. And if you really wanted a challenge, you don't really need your friends for this at all. This dungeon is now completely soloable, which I guess you could say is pretty cool. If you wanted to go into all of these fights by yourself and defeat Malice all by yourself, go for it. It would definitely be a challenge, but they did make this dungeon to where you do not need to rely on people anymore. I will say though that the fights themselves are not just a walk in the park. They are definitely still a challenge and they still do cheat, especially the two bosses that are in the maze themselves, the Croc and the Dragon. They still do cheat, but instead of them casting their cheat every 2 rounds, it's every 3 rounds now. So if you really think about it, the only thing that is changing are the fights. And in my personal opinion, I just find challenge mode to be easier with the fights themselves, just because if you have a good group going and you have strats down, the fights in challenge mode really aren't that bad. For me personally, the maze was the big thing that was really irritating me the most, but now that I know that the maze is still the exact same, I am just going to farm challenge mode because you are essentially doing the exact same thing, just less efficient in standard mode because you can't use Rochambeaus. I do think that for the casual player or people who are just using team up, standard mode will be a lot easier for you, just solely based on the fact that you can change your deck and you don't have to do solo fights or duo fights. You can have 4 people in every single fight if that's really what you wanted, which definitely makes things a lot more easier. But even then, if you are able to find a good group of people in standard mode, I would highly recommend just doing challenge mode and coming up with a strat for that, because you're essentially doing the same exact thing, but challenge mode will give you more rewards at the end. I think when I did my first run of standard mode, I only got 1 piece of stalker gear and a couple dream water, which is not really good, and challenge mode definitely has better rewards. This might just be a hot take of mine, but as of right now, I honestly feel like challenge mode is easier than standard mode just because of how efficiently you can kill the mobs. Like Malice in standard mode has 150,000 health, and it can take a pretty long time to kill him, where in standard mode you can simply just set up a Storm Scion and he can be dead pretty quickly. In PvE, you are obviously not able to set up gambits, so it just makes killing things a lot more difficult, and it is definitely noticeable in standard mode. Also, a big thing about challenge mode was the timer. You were limited to 30 minutes, but in standard mode you do not have this, so if you wanted to spend 2 hours in here, you could definitely do so. And if you are going to have multiple people on the same fight, then it is also going to take a lot longer than it would in challenge mode, which is why I feel like challenge mode is once again just more efficient and you are going to be getting more drops at the end of it. For example, if it takes you an hour to finish standard mode, which is what it took us tonight to do just 1 run, you could have easily done 2 runs of challenge mode during that same time and got way more drops for it, and all you really need to do is just come up with an organized strategy. You're still going to be running around the maze, getting caught by broken dreams, hanging out in barrels, so you might as well have to do that and get some really good loot for it. And that is unfortunately what challenge mode is that it is a challenge challenge, but it rewards you heavily. You still have to defeat Malice 25 times in standard mode in order to craft your gear, which is the exact same thing in challenge mode. So once again, I just feel like it would be way more time efficient to do challenge mode and figure out a good strat there so that you can get your runs done quicker versus in standard mode where it may take you way longer to do the same amount of runs where you are essentially doing the same exact thing in this maze. If this is the route Wizard 101 is going to take things in the future, where you are going to have to learn advanced combat whether you like it or not, I just figure this is a perfect opportunity for you PvEers to learn advanced combat. Trust me, I am right there with you with it being frustrating with having to learn counters and all that, but it will definitely help you out in the future, and this dungeon is just a perfect example of that. But what do you guys think? Have you run standard mode and found it to be way easier, or do you find challenge mode to essentially be the same thing but just more efficient? I would love to know your guys' thoughts about this. I really wish that King's Isle would have made standard mode a bit easier and more accessible for everyone, but here we are, I guess. The biggest benefit I see to standard mode is that there is no timer and that everyone can join the same portal. So as a team, this could be done pretty easily, but at that point, if you have a good team, just start running challenge mode with a good strat because you will get a lot more rewards and be done with farming way faster. But like I said, I would love to know your guys' thoughts about the new standard mode. Make sure to leave them in a comment down below. And as always, if you are looking for a group to farm challenge mode or standard mode of the Nightmare Dungeon with, make sure to join my Discord server. I will have it linked down below and I would love to farm with you guys. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for me. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.